Hello everyone, this is John Quattrucci from Q Training Solutions with another training Q-tip. Today's Q-tip, training. The first thing that's remembered, but the last thing you do. Let me start by describing a typical scenario. You sign up for a training class, a live seminar, or today maybe a virtual training session. You paid good money and your expectations couldn't be higher. After sitting through the session, you're completely blown away by the experience. The facilitator captured your imagination and made you feel like they were speaking directly to you, even though there were over 200 attendees. The content was specific, relevant, and on point. When it's over, you couldn't believe you just sat through a 4-hour meeting. It felt more like one. You never once nodded off or checked for any text. In fact, you have 20 pages of copious notes because you were trying to capture every thought and idea. You leave the session charged up and thinking, wow, that was a seminar. As a facilitator, when you hear that kind of reaction, you know you've hit the mark. Here's the thing. The success of the sessions don't start with the training session. That's actually the last step. My experience has shown that no matter how good an off-the-shelf training program is, it doesn't guarantee success. What might be right for company X might not work for company Y. In sales training, you always hear that every customer is different with different wants and needs. Yet when it comes to training, most training companies will use the same material and content regardless of who they're training. Okay, a different cover page, but most of the content is identical. What can make sessions so unique and successful is the time spent developing the material before any session is taught or any material is printed. Now, admittedly, it's an approach that takes considerably more time than an off-the-shelf program, and some companies aren't willing to wait. However, I've had clients that have stuck with me for 20 years because of that exact approach. In fact, it reminds me of a story about my first client when I was part of Stewart & Associates, my old company. A major electronics retailer hired my partner and I to develop and train a service contract program. We spent 3 months interviewing corporate people, store management, and line-level employees. If there was someone to speak to, we did it. After compiling the information that would help this client the best, we went out and trained the field. At the conclusion of the first meeting, I got a call that they weren't too happy because, and I quote, "This is not the kind of training we do or want." Now, I was stunned. I knew the material was right because it was based on all the interviews. The audience was enthusiastic and you could tell it connected with them. As a result, I had to do a session at their corporate office for the entire training department to evaluate what we were doing. So there I am in front of the group that looked like a firing squad ready to evaluate what we were doing. I knew what we had created was right. So I just let it fly and held nothing back. If we were going to go down, we were going to go down swinging. At the end of the session, the head of training came up to me and told me, "You know our people better than we do. Keep doing what you're doing." 3 years after that, we're at an event where the CEO and founder of the company said to us, "You have shown us our people are capable of doing things we didn't even think they could. Thank you." None of that would have ever happened if we didn't get to know that company inside and out before we developed the content. There are several keys to create successful training, and while I'm not going to give away all of my secrets until you hire me, I will share 2. First, write the material using the same language as your client. You must relate to the audience. If the salespeople are called customer relationship ambassadors, then that's what you call them in the training. Call them salespeople, and you've missed the mark. If the corporate office is called the retail support center, and you call it the corporate office, you've missed the mark again. Don't believe it matters? Have you ever had a conversation with someone that constantly called you by the wrong name? Can you even remember what the conversation was about? Sure, it takes longer to learn the company lingo and culture, but it has a tremendous impact on the retention of the materials being presented. Step 2 is, when you're through, ask yourself this question and be brutally honest. If I got the same material today, would it help me tomorrow? If the answer is no, start again. To be candid, there are a lot of steps in between, so if you'd like to know more, contact me directly. An effective training class or seminar is 25% performance, and the great ones are a performance. The other 75% is about developing the content through learning the client's business model, initiatives, language, pain points, and hurdles. There's a great line I'm reminded of. It's not the joke, it's how you tell it. So true, but remember this. Somebody wrote the joke. Thanks for watching, and as always, remember, there's training, and then there's enter training.